Hey guys, welcome to the Acrylic Asylum. I'm Mike Ferris, and in this lesson I'm going to be going over all the details involved with this painting step by step. And there's no traceable. This is totally freestyle, and I'm going to go over all the colors and brushes and how I do the contrast between in focus and out of focus effects. With that said, let's jump in. Alrighty, I'm going to be getting started on my 8x10 cardboard canvas here. You can use whatever size you want, and again, no traceable. This is all freestyle. And on my palette, I'm going to have some raw umber. This is phthalo blue, a little burnt umber, some cad orange, yellow medium, and titanium white. So I'm going to take my larger 1-inch flat brush. You can use whatever brush, just kind of a large brush to cover the whole thing. I'm going to do this general base coat for the background, and I'm going to take some phthalo blue. Okay, and I'm going to take some yellow medium. Okay, kind of like that, and then a little bit of this raw umber to it. This is going to make a very dark army green. Okay, kind of like this. Okay, just something kind of fairly dark. This is going to build my shadow for the background. Okay, and I want to just stir it up really good, just get all those empty pockets of color. I can always adjust the color on the canvas if I get something not mixed all the way, so not a big deal. Okay, let's see if this is what I'm looking for here. Okay, it's a little more green than I want. That's okay. I'm going to get some more raw umber, maybe a little bit more yellow, and let's try this. Yeah, more like this. Okay. And again, it's just a base coat. It's just to get the whole thing covered. Okay, I'm going to get a little bit more color on my brush. Really going to go for this. There we go. Kind of more of a I don't know, a dark brownish kind of army green rather than a jungle green. I feel like I'm going to get a better shadow color that way. Okay, a little bit more raw umber and yellow. You can see the little difference here. All good. Just something general. Okay. And I'm just going to apply this liberally, just all over this thing. I don't care about the brush strokes. I just want to get it just covered up, because all the things I'm going to do on top, of course, is going to get rid of all the strokes that you see here, all this first coat stuff. And as you know, with acrylics, nothing's ever nice with the first coat. It always looks hideous and gross and just, you know, just a bunch of strokes and a lot of mess. Okay, some openings, maybe the canvas doesn't get covered all the way or whatever, but yeah, anyway. Okay, see little strokes and it doesn't cover it. It kind of gets transparent, that first coat. All good. Just gonna grab a little bit more. Okay, there we go. Okay, 8x10s, very small canvases. Cover them up real quick. All good. Okay, so something like that. I think I like that. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to let this dry, and I'm going to apply all the wonderful things on top and use this as base color, or I'm sorry, shadow color. And this is going to make it pop, and I'll have a playing field now. So I'll be back in just a moment. Okay, and wir are back. And I've got it all dry. I can touch it, it's not sticky, and I'm good to go. So what I'm going to do now is take my number 12 flat natural bristle brush. These natural bristles are going to help to really do these nice gradients and all of these blends, because blending colors and doing all these fuzzy lines with these brushes is what's going to give me my out of focus bokeh effect. So I'm going to take some yellow and a little bit of phthalo blue. I want this general green color here. Okay, kind of something like this. Okay, very light, just a little bit of paint on the brush. And the key to these effects too with these natural bristle brushes is no water at all. You want them very dry, absolutely dry. This is what's going to make that effect. If I get them wet, it's just going to look like the bristles kind of cuts through the paint and leave all these really scratchy lines instead of these nice blended looks. So definitely want it to be a dry brush. So I'm just going to apply the brush. I'm just going to sort of scrub it in Okay, bending the bristles just a little bit, not too hard. And let's see, I think I want to come down, let's see, maybe about, I don't know, a fourth of the way, maybe a little less than a fourth of the way to the canvas. Again, this is all freestyle. Okay, I'm just, no traceable, I'm just gonna lay it in generally where it goes. Okay, and just gonna do something like this. Okay, and as paint runs off the brush, I'm just gonna sort of fade this off into the darker value over here to the right and just kind of do something like this. Okay, just kind of taking it over. Okay, just kind of something like that. I want this little haze in the background there, and I'll get to more coats and layers and adjust the colors, brighten them, you know, whatever I got to do. But again, this is just to get some general color, not the final color. It's all about general colors working together to produce the final color in the end. When you have layers on top of other layers, the colors underneath, they kind of do something with the color on top that kind of reacts with it, with the eye when you look at it later, and it produces your final look to it. So it's not really about one color. How did I get that one color? It's layers that work together to get the color that you see in the end. So I just say general, getting things where they go. Okay, and we'll see, it's going to bring this down just a little bit more. And of course, if I bring something down too far, I can always take another value and go back over that value and knock that value back to where it should be. So there really is no mistake. I mean, this is the beauty of acrylics. They dry so quick, you can cover them up right away, make it look like it never happened, and you're always in business. It's never, ever a mistake, nothing you ever have to live with. Okay, so just going to sort of, like I said, get some of this over here, just kind of showing it, kind of fading off over here a little bit, maybe, yeah. Okay, just kind of like that. Now, what I want to do, I want to get more yellow now. A lot more yellow. Let's get a little white this time. Maybe a little bit of this green into it, okay? I want this more vibrant green, this more kind of yellow plan in here. And let's see, I'm going to have the yellow start here, and I'm going to have it come about, I don't know, about halfway. Stop it about halfway down the canvas. So I'll just put a little mark kind of like this. Okay, and again, I don't care. It's like I can cover that up. It's just a little marker. All right, and you get some of that paint off the brush here. It's a little heavy. That's okay though. Okay, something like this. I'm just gonna sort of run this over. Okay, something like this, and let's see. Just gonna, and as you can see, that dark shadow color, that base color that I did, it really shows through some of this, and it makes it look like there's something happening in the background. Kind of gives us a look of some kind of like jungle in the background that's blurred out. Okay, it'll look a little bit more distinguished here as we get more values down and get more effects going. Okay, so I'm going to run this up. Okay, with a little paint left on the brush, I'm just going to scrub it up into this darker green value here. And again, blending those kind of together. And it's just what gives us that out of focus bokeh effect, all that blending and all those effects. Okay, just kind of like this. Let me get a little bit more of that color on my brush. Okay, just to kind of finish it here. And okay, super simple, really fun. Just have fun, you know, scrub this away. Enjoy the process. I always think that if we do something, even if we like the results, it's always important to enjoy the process and enjoy the journey of doing it, because if not, then, I don't know, it gets old, you know, maybe you won't do it as much. It may not be as enjoyable. So hopefully you're enjoying this. Hopefully you're having fun. Let me know down in the comments below how this is going and how your experience is or was. And any questions you have, I'll definitely do my best to answer anything. We can go over anything you want. I love teaching this painting, this craft here, because I'll tell you what, I didn't know that I had any abilities to paint. I didn't even care about painting all my life. And I took a college class on acrylic painting. It was an introduction to acrylic painting. And it was all the history and all the terminology. And they even taught us for a whole week about how the eye works and how the anatomy of the eye sees colors like cones and rods in your eyes and how that affects your colors. I didn't care. I'm like, I just want to paint. If I wanted to be involved with learning how the eye operates, I'd take a biology class. I'm here to learn how to paint. What's going on, man? So I don't know. That's just me, though. I tried to quit the class. It was really boring. I didn't even like it. I didn't even want to paint. I was like, man, forget this. It's messy. It's frustrating. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm learning all this junk I don't care to learn. And so it was too late to drop it, though. So I thought it would look bad on my transcripts if I tried to drop a class like that and fail it. You know, how does that look when you try to apply for higher education? Yeah, I failed painting class. Can I get in your school? Anyway, that was a while ago. Okay, so I'm going to move on with this now. I'm going to come on down, and I think what I want to do is maybe get just a little bit more of this darker green to change the value again. I'm just kind of separating values. I'll do all the adjustments when I get to it, but let's see. I kind of want to go something like this. You can see a little bit different here. I don't know. There's a little bit of a difference in value change up in here. Maybe clean this brush because I want to get that green off of it actually. So I have two cleaning jars. I have a cleaning jar that's got rubber pegs on the bottom that I ordered on Amazon. It's just a little, it's kind of too dark to see, but it's got all these rubber pegs down here, and I can beat my brush against them. It gets all the excess paint off. I can, you know, knock off all the excess water up here. And then from there, I've got a final rinse jar. Just that way I don't contaminate any new values. I don't want any other colors in something if I, so anyway, just, I like to have two cleaning jars for that, a clean and a rinse one. Okay, and of course, I want to dry this off. Again, you want a dry natural bristle brush to make these fuzzy line effects and blends to go really well. So I'm just kind of rubbing it off on my painting shirt here. Maybe an old rag if you have one, or a paper towel, but really get those bristles very dry. Okay, I don't know, just bam, just really dry. Okay, desert bone dry, and you'll be all right. All right, let's get that effect going back again. That should be good. Okay, and let's see, I'm going to mix up just a teeny bit of blue. See that? Barely any at all. I'm going to get just barely any raw umber. So essentially when you mix raw umber and phthalo blue, you get your own black. But technically it's a very dark Payne's gray. So in landscapes, and I've said this before in other paintings if you've been watching that, I don't like to make my landscapes with permanent black usually because it's not as natural looking. So I like to make my dark Payne's gray with the blue and the raw umber, because I think it gives more of a natural look. Okay, so I'm gonna get a lot of white. I want this very, very light, muted Payne's gray sort of look here for a realistic kind of water look. And again, very little paint on the brush. I'm just wiping a lot of it off on my old tablecloth that I designated for painting. Okay, and let's see. I'm thinking about right up here. And I'm going to take this down to about, I don't know, something like right there. And I'm going to leave it open right down here. So just going to fill in this area. Okay, just like that. And again, I like to have this dark underneath so you can see through that. Okay, and I'm going to brush this out. I'm going to make these fuzzy lines right where it's at. And again, if I go too far up into that dark value, I can just take the dark and cover back over and blend it back over this light. So it's all good. Really go for it. Let the freestyle in you have its way. Let the fun begin. Okay, and I'm going to put just a little bit of right here. Okay. Okay, and I'm going to put some of that just kind of right here. Okay, and up here I want it more heavy, so I'm going to give more pressure. I want a heavier, brighter white right here. Okay. Now I'm going to be playing values together, knocking stuff back, covering stuff back over, Just kind of playing these back and forth and building this up, and each time it's going to get better. The effect's going to get stronger. The colors are going to get more vibrant and close to what they should be, reacting with the layers underneath. And this is what acrylics is all about, layers and the way it comes together as we put more of them down. And I'm telling you, you don't even have to be that good at painting. I don't know. You just got to stick with it, and the more times you do it, just you start to see it. It gets really exciting. You're like, oh, there it is. It's happening. Love it. Okay. I don't know, a little messy there. No big deal. Okay, so some wet areas here where the rain is going to be hitting, falling down. We've got some openings to show some dark, areas here, maybe on the ground, and then we've got the background kind of jungle that's kind of blurred out. Okay, just getting all this kind of down, getting the general layout. Okay, something of that nature. Okay, so I'm actually not going to clean. Well, I don't think I need to clean my brush. I think what I'm going to do now is take some more yellow. Okay. And let's see, I'm going to go in here with some of that. Okay, very little paint on the brush again. And I'm just going to pet this in. Just very little pressure. Watch, just the edge of the brush. The edge of the bristles, not really bending my brush. Okay. And you'll get little holes maybe like this. It won't cover up. Just let that dry. Never fight that, because that's just how acrylics act sometimes, and there's not much you can do. If you try to cover it up, it'll be like this never-ending battle. So the goal is just when it dries, you'll be able to fill it in very easily. Okay, all good. Yeah, I'm doing this circular motion. You can see these little things happening now. It's starting to look a little blurred out. These little circles are going to really start to take off. Okay, now I want to take just a little bit of white now, and let's get just a little bit of that green in there. Okay, kind of something like that. And I want to go up here. You see this little haze up here? These little hazes, I tell you, they really pop the out of focus bokeh effect. As you can see here, you don't want to cover everything, of course, because you want it to contrast with all the different places where the haze isn't, because that's what really makes this happen. Hey, look at that, just dusting that out. And I'll tell you, these natural bristles, they get it done. They really make this nice effect, and those fuzzy lines and those nice soft blends. And as I said, of course, a dry brush is the key. That's what really gives it that ability. Okay. And of course, you can use any brush that you're comfortable with. It doesn't have to be the exact brush I'm using. It doesn't even have to be the exact same colors, in fact. Anything you're comfortable with, go ahead and use that. Okay, so let's see. I'm going to have some more of this yellow, more vibrant color right here. I don't know. But I want to leave some of this green, this darker green in between. I really want it to break apart and break up like that. So there we go. Something like that. I'm going to dust some of this up into here. Okay. Just kind of something like that. Maybe there's a tiny bit of it right up here, just kind of sneaking up into here. Okay, that just kind of brings it all together. Shows the fading of things, of light play. Okay, between the lights and shadows, instead of some abrupt change, because then it looks more like just colors. Maybe like a kaleidoscope instead of something happening. Okay. Okay, just however. And now what I want to do is I want to go back to this darker green. See, I don't have to clean. I can just adjust my colors. More or less yellow, more or less blue, maybe more or less raw umber, more white or not. You know what I mean? It's just, don't really have to clean all the time. And it keeps the colors going. Saves time, and I think it's more enjoyable this way, and also it helps to keep your color mixing and your knowledge about it fresh. Okay, so a little bit of white, I brighten that up, and I want to add some of this haze up here. Okay, a little less paint than what I just put down, very little paint. Okay, look at that, just kind of using the edge of the brush and stirring that up. Okay, just fading that down. Okay. Kind of cool, yeah, looking like it's something's happening here. Let me a little bit of that right in here. And again, if it gets too rough, too messy, too out of whack, like I'm gonna fix some of this. I think I'm gonna knock some of this back. Again, I can just take that dark background color, boom, cover it back over. It's like it never happened. It's all dandy. All right, I'm gonna get some more of that green. Okay, maybe a little bit more yellow that's sitting right there to make it a little bit more vibrant. So yellow, of course, makes green more vibrant, and light, of course, desaturates and brightens it and all that. Okay, just a little bit of that paint there. And you can see a little bit of a difference here. I'm going to surround some of this because I think it brings out some of the glow this way when I can surround the lighter stuff with more of a saturated color around that. Okay, maybe kind of like that. Let me see. I'm going to get a little bit darker on that. Maybe. Yeah, there we go. See that? Okay, something like that. Okay. Okay, see that? I think that pops that out of there a little bit more. Okay, adding a little bit more raw umber now to my palette. I'm going to take some of that and some phthalo blue. And just kind of like that. I'm going to take a little bit more yellow to that just to give that green. I'm going to go back in here. And as you can see, just going to knock back some of this stuff that I did here that got a little out of whack here. And if I go lightly over it, instead of actually getting rid of it, I can just settle it down, see? So it's more subtle and more faded. See how you can play these back and forth? Doesn't have to be right the first time. That's what's so cool about acrylics. You never have to get anything right the first time. And it could be wrong the entire time, and then finally one or a few adjustments, and it's suddenly right. Just like that. So again, this is like, it just happens. It will happen. Stay with it, hang in there, because something's got to give at some point, and it will just work. I'm telling you, it is awesome. Okay, so in here as well, I'm going to get some of that darker stuff in here established. You see, so I'm just kind of getting more specific on where I want things to be and how I want this to go. And of course, do what you want to do. Make it how you want. Maybe there's more trees back here and more foliage. You want to add that in. That's all up to you. And you want to contrast more vibrant colors off of the dark back here. Totally go for it. You know, this is total freestyle. It's really going to be about the detailed water drops and then the ones that are out of focus around that. That's really going to pop this out. The background's just going to get further pushed back and look even more cool with all those details up front. So just keep that in mind. You know, sometimes, a lot of times actually, backgrounds and first start outs on acrylics, it doesn't look like it should, and it's not supposed to. It's like, man, what is this? What's going on here? We're starting off. It's a development. I want to get a little bit more of that dark going in here. Okay, a little bit more of that. And let's see, just kind of want to just kind of do these things here. Kind of like that. Okay, I'm going to clean this brush. I want to take my number 9 natural round bristle brush. The round is really going to help, again, with those natural bristles, but because it's round, I'm going to be able to do these bokeh little circles easy and get that all going. So I want to fill in some more of these gaps here. I want to put another coat down on this more vibrant stuff. It's going to make it even more vibrant, more full, and it's going to be super duper. And I want to take just a little bit of this green into it, not much. Okay. And I just want to get the tip of this going. And let's see, right in here. Okay. You can see here. Okay, just pops that out of there so much better. Okay, a little bit more yellow. And bam, that's what I'm looking for right there. See how that really just brings that out, okay? No mixing of any color, just straight yellow, because the yellow with the layer underneath, of course, again, is going to give it that green hue, but it's going to really make this part of it more vibrant. Really pop out of here, okay? Just brushing the very outside of this to give that fuzzy line for that bokeh look, okay? And let's see, I want to go a little bit right in here, okay? Just straight up yellow now is all I'm using on top of these layers. I'm not going to get the whole thing. I want this fuzzy stuff and more faded, more unsaturated color to stay and remain. I don't want to cover it all up or I'll lose the glow and the effect. Okay, so just like this. Okay, look at that. It just does something and I live it. And let's see, I want to go, I don't know, maybe something like that, and just kind of do something like this. Okay. Okay, see that? Looks like little, maybe sunspots, I guess, or sun rays. I don't know. Let's put some of this here. I got little paint left on the brush. It's not going to be quite as vibrant, not as opaque. It'll be a little more transparent here with less paint on the brush. See that? And maybe a little smaller one there. And I'll sort of brush the rest of it down into here a little bit. I want to fill some more of this in. Okay, something like that, and I'm going to go ahead and clean this brush. And I want to change up the value just a little bit. I'm going to get some of this yellow. Okay, just a teeny bit of this orange. If you're not careful with orange, it will eat up everything inside if you let it. So I'm going to make this like kind of orangey yellow, but I want it more yellow, so more yellow there. Okay. Okay, something like this. And what I want to do is kind of go right here. And of course, first layers. I'm going to make this very opaque, but first layers, it never is opaque at first, especially with yellow. It's the most transparent color you have in every painting. Yellow, it's just the way it is. Okay, I'm going to have this kind of bigger sort of thing here. I don't know, where light's just kind of really zinging off right there. Okay, so I'll let this dry. Of course, I don't want to go on with more layers just yet because it'll just kind of stir up what's there, and it won't really become opaque until I let that dry and I can go on top of that. So I'm gonna clean that brush here that I was just using again. Okay, I'm gonna switch to my number 4 flat natural bristle brush, a little bit smaller. I can start working some little things here and there in smaller areas. And I'm gonna take now some orange, a little yellow, and this time some burnt umber to that. Okay, I want to dull that down into kind of this orangey, sort of brownish color here. Okay, just kind of something like that. A little bit of paint on the brush, and I want to go kind of in here, just kind of work some of that in this area. Okay, just kind of in this general area. It's about a little higher than midway is where I'm putting mine. Again, put your values where you want. Make this however. It really doesn't matter. It's picture filters at this point. Everything is going to look good and great if you mix up the values and add these little things in and use the brushes and get these effects. It's really all about the effects. So I'm just going to kind of play this in. Okay, just sort of dance that in a little bit. Just kind of let it do whatever. And of course, cover it back with those other green values or whatever if there's something too much here. Okay, all good. It just kind of ramps it up, I think. Kind of adds some nature realism, I guess, to it. All right, let's just go in here. Just very subtly, just very little subtle things, And maybe some in there. See, I don't know. I know it's very mundane, but I'll tell you, all these little mundane things, they come together and they just do stuff. And it really makes a difference between something looking really full and exciting to look at versus just kind of something plain that is kind of okay, I guess. All right, cleaning that brush, drying it off. Okay, I have a nylon #2 flat brush. The bristles are pretty much intact. It's going to help me to get some detailed things in the foreground here in some areas where I want hard lines and crisp lines versus this fuzzy stuff. This is what's going to contrast between in focus and out of focus. So with that, I'm going to take that same color that I made here. Okay, some of this stuff here, just adding a little bit more white to it. Okay, and actually I want to get some water on my brush here because I want to go back in and kind of dry it out just a little bit. See, some water can reactivate it. And of course, if I have it with water now on my brush, I can get those crisp lines instead of a dry brush that's going to give it that fuzzy line. So adding water helps to get those crisp lines. That's what you want to do when you want something in focus. Okay, as you can see here, just kind of loading that up. And the brush, I know the brush is a little whack. It's a little warped, but it'll work for what I got to do. And I'm gonna go in here and just kind of, you can see with water now on the brush, it does these things. And I'm gonna do these little water things here, kind of like this, and just kind of tap and dance. I'm not gonna scrub again with a dry brush. I'll just get the same effect. And of course, nothing will look different as far as in focus, out of focus, and that contrast will be lost. And I believe the more contrasting elements you can put in a painting, the more the eye will be drawn in and the more fun and exciting that the picture will be to look at when it's done. Okay, so you can see on top of this fuzzy stuff, because again, it says that some of it's in focus, some of it's out of focus. Not all of this water is in focus, so I want some of that fuzzy stuff to be behind this more detailed stuff here that's not fuzzy. Okay, just kind of like this. It just shows the wetness of the surface here. Okay, just kind of like this. Okay, dance this however, just kind of something like this. Okay, and as I get up here, you can see even with the same brush, even though it's not a natural bristle brush, there's a little bit of paint left on the brush, I can start to fade off and I can wipe a lot of that paint off the brush and I can still get the same effect. And if I bring this down over this just a little bit, it kind of fades from focus to out of focus, where it kind of gets that natural transition going. Okay, just kind of like this. Okay, see that? Now I'm dry it. Now I'm scrubbing it. A lot of the water off the brush is gone from doing all the stuff before, and it just kind of dried it out. But see, I can use that now as if it were the natural bristle brush to do those effects. And I can do this. Okay, just kind of like that. And you can see how it just kind of does these things. I'm going to do a little water drop here, or you know, I guess a ripple here on the ground here. But I want to scrub it out again because I want it out of focus. See that? And now you can see the difference here. Ain't that nice? That's all it is. Dry brush, wet brush, hard lines, fuzzy lines. That's it. That's all it takes for contrasting the in and out of focus effects here. So let's see. I'm just gonna kind of do this, kind of do that. I don't know. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and pick up now my #2 nylon flat brush. It's a different nylon flat brush. The bristles are more intact. I don't know, just changing it up. I like differences. I'm a fan of variety. Okay, so I'm gonna go back into that orangey yellow that I made here. Okay, it's still wet. It's still got the color I want in there. And I'm gonna go back over here because I want to fill this in. Okay, see how that becomes more opaque now? And of course, I'm going to add a few layers because each time, again, is going to get more vibrant with the color. I really want this to be a vibrant area that kind of distracts the eye and makes you go, whoa, look at that. There's a bright highlight there, some light going on there. It's really coming at me. That's what I want to do. That's the whole effect I want to create on this one here. Okay, so I'm just fading that off into those faded, into this faded part here. Again, I don't want to take over everything because then you lose effects. You want all the effects and all the values playing together, not competing and fighting with one another. That's what makes the orchestra and the symphony of colors what it is and makes it beautiful. Okay, I'm gonna clean this off. I'm gonna still use this for some other stuff, and I want it dry because I'm gonna use it like a bokeh effect brush, even though it's not a natural bristle, because I want to do some smaller stuff in here with some more raindrop stuff. So with that, I'm gonna add some more white now into this color that I made. Remember, that's just a teeny bit of blue and brown, the raw umber, and mostly white to get that very light muted Payne's gray. Okay, for that watercolor. And just a little bit of paint on the brush, again, a dry brush. And let's see, I want to go, just kind of start doing, I'm going to go very, very lightly with the brush. See this? Kind of does this. And let's see. Just kind of doing these little things here. And again, if there's something I don't like, I'll just take that dark background, cover it up. If it's too fat, I'll cover some of it up. I'll leave some of it, you know, whatever I need to do. All right, and I want this kind of heavier right here. I don't know. Just kind of something like this. Okay. And I want some heavier things in here. Okay, and also up in here. Let's see, more opaque. And I'm playing these differences around. That's what it's all about. It's all about the differences. You gotta have them. You can't have everything all the same. Okay, so there's this. There's this. Okay, kind of beating this brush up. I got several of these brushes, so it doesn't matter. So I'm not worried about that. I'll get a new brush when it's time. Okay. Let's see. I want some of this up here, some bokeh light kind of stuff like this. Okay. And it also shows some raindrops in a bokeh way coming down. See that? Just some blurred out stuff in the background. Okay, see that? And let's see. Just playing this stuff around. Okay, so I want to make some of these heavier, like right here. Okay, and just kind of fade that off into this faded stuff there. See that? That just kind of does something there that enhances some bokeh things. Okay. And then maybe out here, very, very light pressure. Okay. Do something like that. See, very little paint and very little pressure, and I can make these really transparent ones. Okay, like that, and then see that? Just these little things like that. See that? Okay. And okay. Okay, now I'm going to clean this brush again. Okay, a number 7 natural flat bristle brush. I mean, again, use whatever size, whatever type. Maybe you want to use a round instead of a flat or whatever. I'm just going through different brushes, just showing you guys it really can be done pretty much more than one way. And I want to take again this raw umber and some of this yellow, okay, and a little phthalo blue, a little more raw umber, okay, for that dark value here. Actually, I want to get more raw umber and phthalo blue together. Okay, get that really dark value again. Okay, now I want to knock back some of this real quick here. I want to go lightly over it. See this? And I can smooth out those lines, those fuzzy lines. Okay, see that? I can just want to settle that down just a bit. Okay, just kind of like that. And let's see, I want to do some of that right here. Okay, and I want to put some of that in here, just a little bit. Okay, just kind of breaking this up a little bit to show just kind of water kind of hitting here and there. And okay, see that? Kind of does something there, I think. Okay, just a little subtle thing. A lot of bokeh and a lot of these things is very subtle, but it makes a big difference when you put it in and add it in with everything, and just kind of does these things. Okay, I'm going to clean this brush now. Again, I'm going to add some color in here just to give it more of a pop and just kind of a glow sensation here. So again, I'm going to take this same color here. And let's see, a little bit of raw umber into that to dull that, and titanium white. And as you can see, it's got a little bit of a blue hue to it, more of a blue hue. And that's what I want there. I want to add that. Okay, just a teeny bit of color on the brush. I mean, I don't want to really put blue per se into it, but I want to give it a hint because I think it just does something. So watch this. I'm going to just kind of just play this in here. Let's see. I want a little bit, maybe a little teeny bit more blue, not much. Okay, just a teeny bit. Okay, just a little bit here, and I can always adjust this if it's too much or not enough or whatever. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is come in here and just kind of add this in here a little bit. See that? You may not really be able to tell too much, but again, these little subtle things, they build up, they make a huge difference. And I really want that in here. Okay, it gives the realism that much more of an appeal to it. Okay, let's see. Just kind of want to add some of this in here, just kind of glazing it in there. I'm not really trying to put it in and take over. I just want to glaze it. That's it. Because it kind of shows the light kind of just illuminating some of this reflective light by adding this blue hue into it like this, I think. And it just does something with its realism and just the nature of its pop to it and its appeal when you look at it, and it just makes a nice painting that way. Okay, I'm going to clean that off. That's all I want to do. Now I want to go again back to my number 2 nylon flat brush. I want to go in here and add another coat of this. So again, I'm going to add some more of that yellow and orange. Okay, just a little bit of orange. Okay. And I want to go another coat. See this? Bam, look how much more vibrant that looks. And I don't want to take over all this color. Again, I just want to hit it the middle right here where I want it the heaviest and the most effective. And then as it runs out of paint off the brush, I just drag it out and blend it and glaze it out into that already faded, value before right here. And bam, look at that. It just lights it up. It just brings the eye in. It says there's light hitting and doing something really cool over there. Okay, I'm going to clean that brush. Okay, now I want to get, again, some more yellow medium. Okay, again, my number 2 nylon flat brush, and I just want to do, once again, another color because, again, as you know, yellow is the most, most transparent color. And it's just the nature of it. You got to add more layers with yellow. The other thing you can do is use the heavy body yellow. Use heavy body, you won't really need as many layers, but I don't have any heavy body, so I'm just gonna do another layer. Okay, just kind of like that. I like that. I don't know, just... Okay, there it is. Just getting these nice tones in here. Super cool. Okay, I'm gonna go up here. Do one of these, maybe, I don't know. A little bit of paint left on the brush. Just adds a kind of a distant one there. All right. Just wherever. Just mixing it up. See, you got some faded ones, you got some more opaque ones, you got some more bright yellow ones, you got some more green ones. And of course you got this guy over here. Okay, just all these things. And let's see. I don't know. Wherever you want. Wherever you want. Okay, I'm going to clean that off. Just get titanium white. I'm going to go into a little bit of this. Okay, and again, now I've got a little bit of water on this. I just want to go in here once again and just kind of add these little things. Okay, something like that. And let's see. I'm going to keep going now. I'm going to take most of that paint off the brush, and the brush is pretty dried out now. And again, in a bokeh kind of way. I want to create more of these little drops here, these little things here. And I'm going to come in here and okay, something like that. And let's see. Something like that. I don't know. I'm going to make a raindrop right there. Now I'm going to take this and I'm going to do something now here. I'm going to start creating some of these drops here. Okay, some of these raindrops that are coming down. I'm going to start getting into this here. Okay, and then also up here. I'm just going to lay these out for right now. So like I said, some of them are going to be in focus, some of them are going to be out of focus, and the ones in focus are going to have some detail that's going to really make this pop. Okay, and Okay, something like that, and one right up here is going to be a little bit bigger. And again, I'm just laying these out, not getting any details going yet. I'm going to knock back some of this color. Okay. And let's see, I'm going to do some back here, and these are going to be really out of focus, these ones here. And let's see, let's put another one right here. Okay, and a couple right there. Let's see, more round, let's see. Okay, something like that. And again, with this white left on the brush, I just want to go and just kind of brighten some of these up, some of these other ones up. Okay, just kind of like this. Now what I want to do is grab some of this yellow raw umber. I want to grab some of this, let's see, a little phthalo blue, a little yellow, a little raw umber. Let's see, I just looking for kind of this green value here, something like this, yeah, a little bit lighter. And right in here, just kind of want to dab some of this in. Okay, just kind of add some stuff to it. I don't know, makes it more full, I think. Kind of little reflections in here from some of the brush in here that's kind of reflecting into the wetness down here on the ground. Okay, this gives it more shine, I think. Okay, just kind of like that. Just kind of however. Okay, something like that. And then without cleaning, I'm going to take some yellow. Just going to hit just some of these bright things. You got to have that reflecting in here as well from up there into the wet ground here. See that, like that. And then maybe there's a little leaf down here. I don't know. Whichever, however. Okay, I'm going to clean that off. So I want to get just pure titanium white. Again, this number 2 nylon flat brush is what I'm using. And I'm going to go in here, brighten this up. I want to take, again with my same brush, I want to go and I want to start putting in some of these things here on the water drops here. So I'm going to take now some of this raw umber mixed with this yellow. Okay, I'm gonna get some blue into that. Okay, for that green again. Okay, and right in here, I just want to knock some of this white back here. Okay, just kind of something like this. Okay. And let's see, I want to go now, without cleaning, I want to go raw umber and phthalo blue together. Okay, for that very dark Payne's gray color. Super dark. Okay. And what I want to do is I want to go right here. Okay, see that? And now we've got ourselves some things happening here. I want to dance some of that in here as well, just a little bit. Okay, see that? Now we got a nice looking raindrop there. And let's see, I want to clean this brush off actually, because what I want to do is surround some of these so that I can get some of the dark areas to pop against some lighter stuff. So I'm going to take some white, some of this color that I made down here. Okay, just very, very little paint on the brush. And I just sort of want to glaze in just some of this stuff here. Okay. Around some of these water drops here, just to get them to show up better, you know what I mean? And that way it's not dark on dark, and then we don't get that pop effect. Okay. And also these little glazes of light color like this, it really does something to enhance the bokeh, the out of focus effect. See, like that? It just really takes it off to another level. Okay. Just like that. All right. And let's see, some more of that light color. And let's continue to do some more of this. Okay, and it looks like it's totally coming down now. Look at that. Ain't that nice? Okay, I'm gonna get some more titanium white, just straight up, just plain old titanium white. Okay, and look, I can brighten up some of these areas, and I don't want to take over everything. Okay, just like that. There's some of this. Okay, how about that? And then like just some of this. How about that? And see, when I don't cover the whole thing and I leave some of it alone, how it just does that? Isn't that nice? I think that's super nice. Okay, so I'm gonna get some white now. Okay, again, and right here. Okay, let's brighten that up. Let's brighten this part up. Okay, how about that? Alrighty, now one thing I want to do also without cleaning, I'm just going to wipe all that paint off the brush. I'm going to go to some yellow, some of this blue, okay, for back to that green. Okay, just kind of like this. A little raw umber into there to dull that back. Let's get some more yellow. Okay, something like this. Because, again, I want to have some of this reflection and some of this brush back here kind of shown in the water area. So, you know, just going to sort of brush some of that in like that. See that? Okay. Okay, I want to change up the value so it's not all the same. So I want to go a little bit more yellow, a little bit more blue. Okay, see, it gets it more of a dark, vibrant kind of a green here, jungle green. Let's put some of that in here. Okay, see that? Now it's kind of looking like, you know, kind of like it should. Kind of using my finger to kind of drag that down a little bit. Okay, and now I'm gonna get a little bit more yellow and raw umber into that, just to dull that a bit and change the flavor just a bit. It's all about the differences again. And okay, see that? We got a little bit of color in there, a little bit, things showing up a little bit. Okay, all good. And while I have this color on the brush, I'm going to add this in here, because as you know, with water drops, it's reflecting the background into it. Okay, so like that. Very important. Okay, and some of that in here. Just kind of add that in there. Okay, and then let's see. However you want. Let's add some of that in here. This is another water drop I want to show here. All right, and maybe a little bit of that in here and in here. I don't know. Okay, maybe a little bit of that in here. I don't know. Okay, kind of something like that. And what I want to do again, same number 2 nylon flat brush. I want to take that phthalo blue and that raw umber again for that dark, really dark value here, that Payne's gray, that made black. Okay, and I want to go again just kind of do these little things here. Okay, just on the various outsides here. And when you're doing water drops, you always want that dark in there for shadow, to show that it's got that dimension. Okay, see that? Just like that. See, I'll go in here and kind of... Okay, going back to that light value now. Let's go into here. Okay, maybe a little bit of this color in there. I don't know. And I want to do another one right here. Okay, something like that. Okay, just raindrops everywhere. Let me go a little bit right up here. Maybe to brighten that one. Okay, like that. Just these little things. Okay. Okay, I love it. Just this little nature kind of blurred out thing here. All right. And let's see. What I'd like to do now is add some color in here, just some reflective light. So I want to take, again, some yellow, just a teeny bit of orange to that. Okay, a little bit more. A little bit more. Okay, a little bit of burnt umber to that. Okay, just a little bit to dull it. Okay, and now what I want to do is get a good scoop of white. And I'm looking for a very light peach color, okay? Just like that. That's perfect. That's what I want right there. And I'm actually, what I want to do is use my number 9 nylon, or I'm sorry, nylon, natural bristle brush. And I'm going to take, okay, some of that on it. And right here. See how that does something? I don't know. I think it just does something. I don't know about what it does, but it does something. It just gives it more of a bokeh effect, like a photography like effect with like some color going on there. Okay, I'm going to add a little bit more orange to that because I want it a little bit more vibrant. Okay. Yeah, like that. Okay. One more coat. Let's change it up. Let's get it more vibrant looking. Yeah, I like that. I like that. Okay, again, leaving a little hole. All good. I'll come back to that. Maybe I'll finish the painting with the final coat of that. I don't know. Probably. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and clean this brush again. Now, I want to do something really super cool. I'm going to do some really detailed in-focus drops in the foreground here, and it's really going to contrast against all this bokeh. So I got my number 3 nylon round brush here. It's got a nice tip on it. I can use it to do circles super well. And what I want to do with this is I want to take some just titanium white, plain titanium white straight up. Actually, I'm going to get a little bit of water on the brush. I want super crisp lines and detail galore. Okay, so I'm going to pull it through as I was turning it, brings it to a nice tip and a point. And right up here, I'm going to do this little thing here. Okay. And I'm not going to fill anything in yet. I'm just going to do just the outline just so I can get these laid out because I want to get them in the general location where I want them. Okay, so loading up again some more. And I'm going to go a little bit bigger. Let's see. Just with the very tip. You can also use a detailed brush too, like maybe a 00 detailed brush if you want. That also helps to get really fine details and crisp lines. Okay, I'm just, like I said, I'm just getting them laid out. Just kind of where I want to put them. Let's see, I'm gonna go right here. Okay, another little one. These are the absolute in focus ones. So no fuzzy lines. I want a good amount of water on this brush. The very tip and crispy, crisp lines. All right, so now let's go with, let's see. I'm gonna go right in here. A big one. Or bigger one, whatever. Not a really huge or anything, but okay, something like that. Something like that. I'm maybe gonna add, let's see, another one, maybe, I don't know, maybe one right here. Put them wherever you want. Okay, make it up. Do what you want to do. All right, something like that. And now I'm going to clean my brush. I'm going to add some more blue to this actually, and let's get a little white actually into that. Okay. Okay, a little bit of a different kind of a deal here. Let's see. I'm going to go in here with some of this. Okay, and just kind of fill that in. And I'm going to get some more yellow, some white. Okay, something of this nature here. Pulling it through as I turn it to a point. And let's see, I'm going to just kind of do this little thing here. Okay, I'm going to get some details going. Like I said, just really come in here and enhance some of this. And just kind of do some things. All right, and with this one, I want to do some little leaf detail here. So I'm going to very lightly with the tip, and then I'm gonna go like this. This, I'm gonna make this little leaf in here that's kind of reflecting but in detail. Okay, like that. And I'm also going to get some raw umber into this. Okay, and let's get a good scoop of white and some phthalo blue. So I'm looking for a minty kind of a green. There we go, kind of something like that. Pulling it through as I turn it to a point again. And let's see, let's go up here. This changes the value a little bit. Okay, kind of something like this. And I'll put some of that in here as well. Okay, just kind of dabbing this around. Okay, and I'm gonna go ahead and clean that brush now. And let's see, I'm going to now take that raw umber and phthalo blue together, okay? For that very dark Payne's gray. The darkest color in the whole piece. Okay, pulling it through as I turn it to a point. And I want to go in here now. Really get some details in here with some of this dark value in here. See that? Okay. And let's see, something like this. Okay, some of that dark value like so. All right. All right, let's get some more water on that brush just a little bit, just so I can get that point on it. Okay, so right here. You know, I almost feel like these should be bigger. I'm gonna make these bigger to push that other stuff back and give it distance. Okay, so watch this. I'm gonna take this white. I'm actually going to like this. Okay, I want to do these bigger. Okay, that one can stay. Okay, I really want those to pop. And I want to show off the detail a little bit more, so I'm making them bigger for that reason, to give myself more room for those details. Okay, so bear with me. It's all good. See, we can adjust anything we want anytime. It's all good. There are no rules to saying, oh, I can't do that. Well, you can do what you want. Okay, and before I go any further, I'd like to take again my number 2 nylon flat brush, and that's because I want to take again some of this blue. Let's see, raw umber, some of this stuff here. Okay, just a little bit of that paint. I want to go around this because I want to pop against that with some darks. And see, this is what's cool. I can always come in here, add, take away, push back, adjust, whatever I want to do. Okay. And that's going to give it all the surrounding I need for the color to pop against it. See, if I don't have anything to pop against, it won't pop. That's just the rule of thumb right there. I got to have other colors, and I've got to have this diving board or platform for these colors to launch off of, or it just doesn't have anywhere to do that, and it just won't be what it's supposed to. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to continue. I'm going to take this flat brush and continue with that instead of the nylon now, because I have more room now to get more involved with this flat brush. And I'm going to go in here kind of do this. Okay, see that? Same thing over here. Okay, there we go. Now let's see. What I'd like to do now is get some yellow and some white, and I'm going to sort of place some of these values in a little bit. Okay. Okay, just kind of something like that, getting those details, yeah. All right. Okay, cleaning that brush off. Pure titanium white. Absolutely no other colors, just straight up. Just white, and going to strike okay, just like that. Okay, see that? Okay, and those are completely in focus. Okay, and let's see. And white, and now again, more white. All right, now I'm gonna get some of this green and white, because I don't want it pure white, but I do want it light. And I'm going to come in here. My nylon, or I'm sorry, yeah, my nylon number 3 round brush here. And I'm going to take again that black, that raw umber and phthalo blue. Okay, pulling it through as I turn it to a point. And I'm going to go something like this. Just kind of do these little things here. Now cleaning that, and I'm going to get some titanium white now. Okay, just a little bit. Pull it through as I turn it again to a point. Now, a little bit of orange, a little bit of burnt umber to that to dull that, a little bit of white, a little bit of yellow. Okay, I just want to mix up these tones a little bit here. I'm going to pull through again and turn it as I bring it to a point. I'll just use this number 2 nylon round brush. I'm going to go back into this orange and this yellow and the burnt umber, and let's see if I can get that. There we go. That nice peach color here. Yeah, look at that. I can fill this in super well now. Yeah, it's all dry. It's all good. Never need to fight anything, ever. It's all good. All right. And let's see over here as well. And without cleaning, I'm just going to take a little bit more white because I want to brighten this. Okay, you can touch up whatever you want. Just kind of with my script liner brush, lots of water and titanium white. I'm going to take my script liner, pulling through as I turn it, do a nice sharp tip, and I think right here I'm going to go ahead and sign. And I want to thank you guys so much for following on and all the watch time and support. And if you're new, please do me a favor and subscribe if you dig these lessons and my art. That really helps me to keep making these videos and bringing you guys these lessons and all of that good stuff. So as you can see, just a little nice little piece here of tranquility and peace, and it really gives this feel of just like this calmness and just beautiful raindrops and somewhere in nature and a good place to really quiet yourself and maybe pray or whatever you need to do. And it's just a really good environment, and I really like the way this makes me feel when I look at this, and I hope you guys are catching the same vibe and all of those things. So as you can see, just in focus, out of focus, the different brushes between more or less water, natural bristle brushes versus nylon brushes, and you can see the different effects that it makes. So totally do this. This is forgiving, and it's easy to do, and you can cover anything you want. This dark base background here is what makes this very forgiving and easy to do, because you can cover and knock back anything. So totally go for this. Let me hear your questions and comments. And with that said, I want to wish you well and happy painting to you.